Hey, wrestling fans. Welcome to One Winged Wrestling, where we help you navigate the complex world of pro wrestling, bringing you the best matches, world class wrestlers, and news you can count on. At One Winged Wrestling, we bring the elite to you. My name is Bill Cutbush, and I will be flying solo on this special episode because the elite we're bringing to you today is Stardom. That's right, my favorite subject, Stardom World Wrestling. So, what happened was we had on March the 4th, I believe, Stardom Triangle Derby Finals from Yoyogi. And so this was a pay-per-view event which went up on Stardom World a couple days ago. And I had a chance to check it out. And I want to run through it with you guys because I got a lot to say about some of the matches on this card. Before I even start, I am just going to say that this was probably one of the best special event slash pay-per-views I've seen. Well, it's the pay-per-view of the year so far. 100%. I mean, better than anything AEW's put out, better than anything New Japan's put out. I'm not saying that there's a match on this card equal to Kenny Omega versus Will Ospreay. No, okay, there isn't. But there is a match on this card that is my current number 2 match of the year after that match. So check this thing out. If you want to go watch it before I do, just go to Stardom World. It's like $9 a month or something like that, Canadian. I mean, it's like nothing. So, you get the best wrestling in the world, and no, they do not pay me. But I'm just saying, it's a really good deal for some of the best wrestling you're ever gonna watch, right? But anyway, I digress. Let's get into this show, shall we? So there were 2 pre-show matches, and it comes to us from Yoyogi in Japan. We had Rina versus Hina versus Miyu Amasaki to start us off in a triple threat match. Now, this is like putting some of the younger people on. Miyu Amasaki is in the Stardom dojo. Rina and Hina are sisters. They are both currently 16 years old, so they were really putting their younger talent out, which is pretty typical for it. This match took place as the arena was filling up. And, I really got the feeling from the look on Miyu's face when she came out that she was expecting more people. She kind of had a moment where she came out and was like, what's going on? Because there was like almost no one in their seats yet. They filled the arena in a very orderly fashion, though, because by the end of this match, it was just about full. So, I mean, this match was only 10 minutes long. It took them 10 minutes to fill the arena. Just impressive. Anyway, so, the 2 Queen's Quest members, being Hina and Miyu Amasaki, ganged up on Rina early until Miyu tried to roll up Hina. Rina got the advantage on Miyu, though, with a body slam, then threw her around the ring until Miyu came back with a handspring elbow and a drop kick for 2. Rina came back with a shotgun drop kick for 2 and an octopus hold that Hina interrupted. And then Hina and Rina went back and forth with elbow strikes until Hina hit a backbreaker and an STO for 2. Miyu returned and DDT'd Hina out of a miss on Rina. She then reversed Hina into a roll up for a big near fall, then drop kicked her down. Rina came back, double teamed Miyu with her sister until Miyu nailed the double DDT on both of them. Miyu went for her finisher on Rina, but Rina reversed into a jackknife and got the 3. Quick match, decent little match. I mean, Rina is definitely looking good. Miyu Amasaki. She's solid. I've liked her since I saw her in the Goddess of Stardom tournament. Excuse me. The Goddess of Stardom tournament. This was a decent starting match, highlighting some young talent for sure. I would have given it 3 stars. It really makes me wonder what they have for planned for Rina. She's been booked really strong recently, and I like how she's being booked. I mean, I could see her getting a run with the Future of Stardom Championship soon. She's still 16 years old, so very young. But someone I really think that, we should all keep an eye on because I think she's going to be something when she gets up there. She's developing more presence. Hina, her sister, she still needs to work. I was talking about this during the Dynamite review on Wednesday. And, as I was talking about this with Sky Blue, and I see it here with Hina too, there's that thing about the crispness of the strikes, right? When Hina hits, it doesn't really look like she's hitting, right? It doesn't look like there's much impact yet. I really hope that she works on that, but she's not. I mean, her STO was good. That backbreaker she hit was good. So she's getting there. She's certain. I think she looked better in this match than I saw her look in previous matches with her. So yeah. Anyway, good little opening match. Not a bad way to start off at all, right? Then we had Utami Hayashishita and Lady C taking on Ram Kaichow and Maika Ozaki. This seemed like a weird place to me for Hayashishita to be booked, but I guess they can't all be in main events every show. Anyway, but her actually working with Lady C is interesting because Lady C is clearly being pushed right now, right? I mean, she's having a really good run. She's her presence right now is just it's outstanding. I like what they're doing with her. I've really started to enjoy her matches a lot. And she starts this one off against Ram and calls for the knuckle lock as a joke because Lady C is very tall and Ram is very short. Ram takes exception to this, of course, and stomps on Lady C's foot, grabs her hand, taking her down. Ram tries the curse dust, like she does this thing where she'll like throw cursed dust or cards or something out of her hand. They're invisible, but Lady C just looks at her and looks at her stomach and totally no sells it. But then Ram tries it again after another move, and on the follow up, Lady C clutches her stomach in pain. But when Ram charges, she simply puts her hand on Ram's head and holds her out from her. So I mean, this was your comedy spot on the night, right? I mean, what I found interesting was they didn't do a lot of comedy on tonight's card, right? There's usually a match that has a lot of comedy in it, but this was really the extent of the comedy. This was a very serious pay-per-view for the most part. Anyway, Ram then takes Lady C down, but Utami interferes. Lady C gives Ram the giant swing after that, and she got a lot of rotations. I think it was around 9. The crowd was counting, but like just with back in the day when Cesaro would do it with WWE, the counting tends to be off. The AEW audience, well, we don't see it that much anymore. So anyway, tags Utami. Hayashishita body slams Ram, and the pin is interrupted. She tags out to Lady C again, but Ram gets a back mount rear naked choke. But on the follow-up crossbody, Lady C catches her, gives her a DDT. Ram tags out. Utami tries to interfere, but then Ozaki takes them both down. Ozaki was booked strong in this match. Lady C comes back with a knee and an STO and manages to tag out, but Ozaki and Utami then engage in a lariat battle, both of them just smashing into each other over and over until Ozaki finally takes Hayashishita down. Ram joins her for a double splash for 2, and then Ozaki hit a torture rack slam for 2, but Utami moves on the second rope senton and lariats Ozaki down, which is an impressive feat. Ozaki is a big woman, and but Utami is bloody strong. Lady C joins her for a fall-away slam lariat combo for 2, then Utami hits the air raid crash on Ozaki for the near fall. She then gives Ozaki an impressive deadlift bridging German suplex, and that does it. That's the 3. Solid match. The comedy was okay. There wasn't so much of it that it was bad. Lady C looks strong. I like Ram and Ozaki. They're great. Utami getting the pin, I think, was the right call if you're going to put her in the second match on the show and in the pre-show, no less. Giving her the pin is probably good. There was also a good little show of respect, I think, between Utami and Ozaki right at the end of the match. I'd give this 3.25 stars. Worth checking out. Well, every match on this card is worth checking out. But yeah, it was fun in places, and then at the end it got like hard hitting and serious. So yeah, good match. So we move to the main card, and the opening match on the main card is the trios match. It's Donna del Mondo, Maika, Thekla, and my Sakurai taking on Club Venus, Mina Shirakawa, Mariah Mai, and Waka Tsukiyama. Waka still hasn't won a match. And at Stardom and Showcase, which I'll be talking about more on this coming Monday on OWW Weekly. On Stardom and Showcase, it turns out that she will be, in fact, facing Nene and a partner of her, and partner of Nene's choosing with Tam Nakano on March the 25th. So that will be very interesting because that is the last possible day that Waka can be in Cosmic Angels if she doesn't win a match. So that is a do or die match. That said, well, you kind of know she's not winning this match, right? Because I'm pretty sure they'll have her lose all the way to March 25th, which means every single Waka match now, it's going to be her being strong and losing. So Thekla starts against Mariah, and Thekla dodges the larger Mariah quite a bit, taunting her. I mean, there was a lot of dodging here. Then exchanges poses with her after, they both dodge each other until they both tag out to Maika and Mina. Mina locks a vicious headbutt on Maika for a while. I mean, looking pretty strong. And Maika finally takes her down, though, with a shoulder block. Donna Del Mondo then triple teams Mina, locking on 2 arm bars and a knee bar. So each one of them grabs a limb and locks on a submission until Club Venus breaks it up. Maika hits a delayed vertical for 2, with good long delay on it. Mina hits a low drop kick then, though, on an Irish whip and locks on the figure 4. She tags Waka while she's in the hold, and Waka locks on a back mount sleeper when Maika finally gets up. Maika stumbles into her own corner though, and Sakurai blind tags her and then hits a top rope drop kick on Waka, who's still on Maika's back. It was a pretty cool spot. They exchange forearms, but Waka gets the better of it and hip attacks her against the rope, hits a sit out clothesline, and then Sakurai is triple teamed by Club Venus. It ends in a top rope missile drop kick from Waka, but the pin is broken up. Mai reverses the straight jacket, drops Waka with a big boot, stomping her down, but she counters an Irish whip with a crossbody and hits a straight jacket slam for 2. Thekla interrupts the next move, and Waka gets double teamed then by Thekla and Maika. Mai hits a reverse Falcon Arrow, but Club Venus breaks up the pin. She then hits a reverse DDT leg drop for 2 and a bridging vertical suplex for 2. So Waka's just kicking at everything. So she gets hit with, like, you know, reverse Falcon Arrow, reverse DDT, leg drop, vertical bridging suplex. She finally nails Waka though on the next move with her finisher, the diving 360 leg drop for the 3. This was a solid match. It was good but not great. Mai looked strong, right? A really good showing against Waka. They've been building her up quite a bit too. I mean, when I first started watching her, even just a few months ago, she wasn't as good as she is now. They've changed her finisher. She used to do a top rope elbow drop. It's now this diving 360 leg drop. I don't want to think about what the diving 360 leg drop will eventually do to her back, but it's an impressive looking move and a heck of a lot better than, an elbow drop that we know Kairi already uses, right? So yeah, and Mina looked really good against Maika. They're clearly building Mina up too, as we will find out later. But overall, though, I would say, in spite of that, good wrestling, but not a lot happened. Yeah, 3.25 stars. Which, by the way, is still a good rating. I mean, it's certainly worth watching. Then we get what I call the get everyone on the show match. We have stars. This is a 5-on-5, so a 10-person tag match. We have stars with Miyu Iwatani, Koguma, Saida, Momokogo, and Hanan taking on Oedo Tai's Natsuko Tora, Ruaka, Momo Watanabe, Saki Kashima, and Fukujin Death. Koguma starts against Tora to a Kuma chant, bear. She does something, I think, that's kind of like a rabbit variation on it. She was chanting something else, and let's face it, my Japanese is almost non-existent at this point, so I'm not sure what she was chanting, but she was holding up her fingers like she was doing rabbit ears, so she may have been chanting rabbit. But Tora just stands in the middle of the ring with her head down, not moving. Koguma approaches her, so she gives Koguma 2 hard gut shots and then tosses her from the ring. Koguma gives her 2 thumbs down from the floor. She's like, the audience is booing her for not participating, of course, in Koguma's little craziness. Koguma then gets wrecked by all of Oedo Tai, though, ending in a senton from Tora for 2. We get Miyu doing Miyu things to Watanabe and Kashima, and by that I don't mean like, klutzy Miyu things. I mean like Miyu moves, like, oh my god, can this woman go, including an Escalera springboard double arm drag. Krishna would love Miyu Iwatani. He really should watch more Stardom. I'm going to keep working on him, guys, because he needs to watch these shows with me. Saya and Hanan had a fun double team sequence against Ruaka. Ruaka and Tora did their senton freezer bomb splashes to Hanan and Saya before there was this waterfall moment. Everyone was going at it that ends in a tag to Momokogo and Fukujin Death. Stars quickly triple teams Death, and Kogo hits a springboard drop kick for 2. She hits a thrust kick, but then Fukujin pulls out a jackknife on her and gets the 3. And that's what I love about Fukujin Death. Yeah, she has her comedy moments. She seems klutzy. She's a clown in the ring, right? Like the Doink of Stardom, maybe. But she's a really good wrestler. All right, and that's I think the crazy part is that she can win matches. She's not like a non-existent threat in the ring. She can beat you. And I like the fact that she got the pin here. So, everyone got a moment in this match too, right? Miyu, she stood out to me. It was fine for a 10-man. I mean, there was nothing spectacular, but nothing bad. And it really didn't do much plot-wise for anyone. I'd give this 3 stars. Decent, but kind of chaotic. We then move into, I guess, what becomes the sequence of the serious matches on the card. We've kind of gotten like the opening matches out of the way, and now it's go, go, go from here. So this is the Triangle Derby semifinals match number 1. We have Rampage God's Eye, Syuri, Mirai, and Amisori taking on Cosmic Angels, Tam Nakano, Natsupoi, and Saki. Now look, I sent Cosmic Angels entrance from this to Krishna. because I know he loves their entrance, and he sent back that they're the 3MB of Stardom. I take high exception to Cosmic Angels being called 3MB because if Cosmic Angels were to actually fight 3MB, Cosmic Angels would win in 5 seconds. So I'm just saying that's a terrible comparison. Not to mention the fact they can totally outdance 3MB. So, guys, some respect. But before I actually get into this match, I actually want to kind of cover the press conference before this match because it sets the tone for the match. There was a press conference that happened, of course, before the pay-per-view. And the press conference for this was, I guess, the best comparison I can say is Cosmic Angels are kind of like the best friends of Stardom. All right. The following translated exchange is courtesy of the Shine Today, Believe Tomorrow site. If you aren't aware of this site, it's really good. They translate the press conferences, post-match comments and stuff into English from Japanese, and it's an invaluable resource for anyone who wants to get into Stardom. So Shine Today, Believe Tomorrow. Google it. Go look at their stuff. It's great. In the press conference, Tam notes that the two teams seem to face each other a lot. So you've got all three, or you've got Tam and Natsupoi on the Cosmic Angel side at the press conference, and Syuri, Mirai, and Amisorai on the God's Eye side. And so Tam just notes they've been facing each other a lot, which is true. God's Eye and Cosmic Angels seem to have been fighting an awful lot recently. And Syuri says, "Well, sure, ho ho ho." And Tam says, "What? What is it?" Syuri, "Well, it's because you like me, isn't it?" What are you talking about? And then Natsupoi cuts in, "Poi likes you, yes." And Tam turns to Natsupoi, "Why would you say that?" "Well, because I like her." "Well, liking her or whatever doesn't matter. It's the other way around. I think you guys really like us. After all, the other day at the Tokorozawa show, when Tam's team were doing the takeoff pose, you copied us in a super tacky way. It was basically like, ew." Syuri then says, "It wasn't tacky, it ruled." And Tam said, "No, it was pretty tacky." Syuri's like, "No, no way, whatever. The God's Eye pose is genius anyway." Tam says, "Your pose is genius?" Syuri says, "You want to see it?" "Yeah, you want to see it." Tam says, "Except no, I do not particularly want to see it." Natsupoi cuts in again, "I want to see it." And Syuri says, "Let's do it." And Tom's like, "No, no, we don't want to see it." This was honestly hilarious. Then they get into this pose off and it gets absolutely ridiculous. Ami accidentally, after the pose off, ends up walking over to the Cosmic Angel side. Tam keeps commenting on Mirai's tank top, like, "What's with your tank top?" Anyway, I loved it. It had at that best friends level of ridiculousness to the entire segment. It was so funny. Yeah, just go check it out, read the translation first and then watch it. Their expressions are great. It's so good. I love the way Natsupoi cuts in and she's like, "No, I want to see it," or "No, I like her." Oh, it was good. Anyway, back to the match. So now they're facing off. This is a semifinal number 1. The finals happen as the main event of this tournament. So we have God's Eye taking on Cosmic Angels. Tam starts against Ami, and they go back and forth until the Cosmic Angels triple team Ami, ending in triple thrust kicks for a 2 count. Tam tags in Natsupoi, but Ami soon plants her in a corner, and she's triple teamed with run-ins by God's Eye for a 2 count. Ami tags Mirai, and they do the machine gun chops to Natsupoi and then lariat her down for 2. I love the way Natsupoi sells those chops. She just screams the whole time. Natsupoi cartwheels out of an Irish whip and drop kicks Mirai down, tagging Saki in, who locks a bulldog choke on Mirai. She disposes of an interfering Syuri before the two exchange running strikes. A suplex from Saki and a big lariat from Mirai leaves both women down. Tam and Syuri are tagged in. They dodge each other's kicks and then get into a huge forearm exchange. I mean, I want to see these two go at it at some point singles. They catch each other's legs, headbutt each other. Finally, Tam blind tags Natsupoi, and they double team her with kicks for 2. Natsupoi goes for a German, but Syuri's just too strong. Natsupoi runs at her, though, locks on a standing figure 4 necklock armbar combo, which I love. Syuri reaches the ropes and bails from the ring. Natsupoi goes up the ropes, but Ami catches her and gorilla presses her from the apron to the floor onto her teammates. I love the way they're building Ami as just like a powerhouse because that's sort of how she's been, right? Someone who can stand up to the shoulder blocks, throw people around the ring, and she is a fairly big woman. God's Eye then throws Natsupoi back in the ring where they hit a double face buster and Syuri executes her kicks on her for two. And I mean, execute is a good word to use with Syuri's kicks. Syuri hits a gut buster, but time interrupts the pin with a violet shooting. I mean, why bother just like casually taking a person out of a thing when you can hit them with a V trigger or violet shooting, right? Natsupoi then gets the two after that. I mean, time took her down, so Natsupoi covers her. Syuri Germans Nat, but she pops right up out of her screaming, and then she hits her own. She locks in an armbar until God's Eye breaks it up. I mean, she just had her moment there where she was like, I've had enough of this. Tam and Saki dispose of Ami and Mirai, then Tam and Natsupoi do double cross bodies to the floor. There's triple thrust kicks and a bridging German to Syuri, but this only gets a two. Natsupoi goes up to the top, but she misses the Ferial gift and eats a double lariat from Ami and Mirai, and then a running knee from Syuri, who locks the white tiger on Natsupoi until Tam and Saki break it up. Ami and Mirai dispose of Tam and Saki, but when Syuri lifts up Natsupoi, she goes for a Mahistral, but they end up rolling in the pin until Natsupoi comes out on top, and they get a near fall. I totally bid on this. I really thought for a second Natsupoi was going to pin Syuri. It was great. Natsupoi runs at Syuri, but Syuri just hits one of her massive roundhouse kicks for a two before putting the white tiger back on. She adds arms and just contorting Natsupoi like crazy. Natsupoi taps, and but it wasn't immediate. She fought, and God's Eye moves on. Tam confronted Mariah a little bit after the match. Syuri, though, talks to Natsupoi and seemed to be showing some respect to her, like, good show, that kind of thing. Tam then confronted Mariah, and then, yeah, it was good. I really liked this match. Natsupoi looked awesome, but ate yet another pin. She seems to get pinned a lot these days. I'll be interested to see if anyone runs like end of the year stats or something, but Natsupoi seems to eat an awful lot of pins. Syuri is just so good. Her kicks, her submissions. I mean, every time I watch her, this woman is like a master in the ring, right? So yeah, three and three quarter stars on this one. Really good. And now I'm intrigued. So God's Eye is moving on. I was kind of like, oh, okay. Are they the ones who are in line for the next title shot, is what I was thinking right now. Because I'm like, if you're putting God's Eye in the finals, I got a sneaking feeling they're gonna win, right? So that's what I was thinking at this point. Then we get Triangle Derby semifinals match number 2. We've got 7-Up, Nanae Takahashi, Yu, and Yuna Mizumori taking on Prominence, Risa Sera, Suzu Suzuki, and Kurumi Hiragi. Prominence attacks 7-Up as they pose from their entrance. Like every team comes in and does their poses, right? So 7-Up's posing, Prominence nails them, and they all brawl around the ring. Risa Sera nails Yu with a chair. Risa and Hiragi double suplex Yu onto the floor while Suzu beats on Nanae. The match finally gets going back in the ring with Yu and Risa. Prominence triple teams her, though, including a massive double knees in the corner from Risa. I mean, she was going like 100 miles an hour when she nailed those knees. Risa tags in Hiragi, and they exchange shoulder blocks. Yu coming out on top, though. Hiragi's a big woman, but Yu is just such a powerhouse. Hiragi soon hits a running senton, though, and a missile drop kick for 2. Risa and Suzu interfere, but Yu hits a crossbody to all 3 of them, sending them out of the ring, where 7-Up does a triple rollout move. If there's one move I wish they would retire, it's that rollout, because in all honesty, it's kind of silly. The person lies down in the ring and then rolls out like they're rolling down a hill and tries to roll on top of the opponent. It's kind of unrealistic. I don't love it. Anyway, Yu tags Nanae, who goes for the freezer bomb, but Hiragi moves and then cannonballs her against the ropes and body slams her. I mean, and these cannonballs, they're just insane. Yuna catches her on the top, though, allowing Nanae to recover and hit a superplex for 2. She goes for a back suplex, but Hiragi fights out, hitting a thrust kick. Nanae responds with a big lariat and runs at her, but Hiragi hits the boss man slam and tags Suzuki, who hits a series of running strikes, kicks Nanae in the head, pissing her off. Nanae blocks her kicks then and plants her, allowing Yu to hit a senton and then a double facebuster for 2. Nanae then headbutts her and hits a Michinoku driver for 2. She tags Yuna, who hits a second rope splash for 2. I mean, Suzu's just kicking out of everything, right? I mean, that was the thing. She's getting her ass handed to her by much larger women than her. And I mean, a second rope splash from Yuna Mizumori, she still kicks out, right? She pulls Suzu up and hits repeated short arm forearms, like taking her and just pulling her into these forearms over and over. But on a run, Hiragi interferes and slams Yuna down. Risa and Suzuki then combined for a double stomp off the second rope for two. And I mean, they combine. It's like one was on the back of the other as they went off the rope. It just looked painful. 7-Up returns though, and they triple team Suzuki, a spinning sidewalk slam from Yu. Suzuki fights out, but Nene and Yu hit the double crucifix. Yuna gets a jumping jackknife on her, only for a 2 though. Then they basically pile all three Prominence members in a corner for a Yu cannonball, but Suzuki fights out of Yuna's slam, rolling her up for 2. Yuna hits the F5 though, but Prominence interrupts the pin. Yuna manages to roll Suzuki up, but she reverses into her own roll up for 2. Suzuki then hits a high kick and a German, but Yuna pops up, nails a lariat for a huge near fall, but then Suzu hits a tequila roll up for 3. I'm going to call it a tequila roll up. It was kind of like she set her up for the tequila shop and then rolled her up in it. So I'm going to call it that. And she got the pinfall on it for 3. There may be another name for that move. If someone would like to enlighten me, please let me know. Anyway, Prominence wins. Solid match. Suzu got the mic after the match. She said, "Do you think Prominence would lose? We're in the finals. That's enough of you guys." She turned to 7 and said, "That's enough of you guys. Try again sometime." And then she said, "Are you watching God's Eye?" And in fact, God's Eye was watching because they're at the top of the stands. Prominence puts the belt. Prominence then tells them they will put the belt on the line in the finals. So Suzu complains that she can't see God's Eye though in the dark. Production, the one thing I've said repeatedly, the bigger companies have better production. They really were standing in the dark and they had a lot of trouble getting a spotlight. So basically, God's Eye just runs down to the ring. Syuri accepts the challenge and it's made official. So the finals for the Triangle Derby are not just going to be the finals for the Triangle Derby. It is now a title match between Rampage God's Eye and Prominence. Solid match. I didn't expect Prominence to win. I actually thought 7-Up was going to win because Prominence holds the belts. But hey, they took care of that. There was a lot of passion and hard hitting in this match. Suzuki took a beating and still managed to pull out the win. Yuna looked really good. When she came in, she was like the pineapple girl, right? And I mean, I didn't love the gimmick. It's kind of silly. But when she wrestles with 7-Up, she's really, really good. She's improved so much. And the three of them together are just such an insane team. Like they've really grown on me because they have such an interesting place in Stardom now, because it's like, they won the Goddess of Stardom belts. And, I was one of them like, what are you doing putting the belts on them? Right. But no, I get it now. I mean, Nene, she's won me over totally. Her passion, her like just drive to wrestle, the way that she drives her other teammates to be better. It's just, I love them. They're not necessarily going to be in my top 3 teams or anything like that, but man, I know when I get them in the ring, you're going to get like a bunch of people who are going to have a fair amount of trouble beating them, shall we say. So, apparently my phone has decided that I'm talking to it. So, I'm just going to take care of that for a moment. There we go. Okay. So to get back to this match, yeah, I'd give it about 3.5 stars. I don't think it was quite as good as the Cosmic Angels God's Eye match, but still solid match. So now we move on to the Himeka retirement series. So it's Himeka taking on Chihiro Hashimoto. And Chihiro Hashimoto, she's from Sendai Girls. She's like one of the big wrestlers in Sendai Girls. I've talked about her before. Just powerhouse. I'm impressed all the heck with her, right? Like just another big powerhouse of a woman, like really strong. But Himeka, I mean, she's the Jumbo Princess, right? And this is one of her, she called for this match. And she also very tough, very hard hitting. So I knew what we were going to get in this match the minute it started. They immediately charge each other, and Chihiro takes Himeka down and locks on an ankle lock until Himeka reaches the ropes. Chihiro puts a headlock on her and then a front face lock for some time until Himeka runs her into the corner. But Chihiro takes her down and then shoulder blocks her down again for a 1 count. She then returns to the ankle lock, going back and forth between that and elbows and knees to her knee. Himeka tries to suplex her, but Chihiro kicks her knee out. So, I mean, she's just working over Himeka, right? She tries to slam her, but Hashimoto puts on an abdominal stretch. Finally, Himeka manages to slam her out of the stretch. And this was really Himeka's first offensive move of the match. So far, she has just been owned. She then hits a running knee and only gets a 1 count on Chihiro and then locks on a Boston Crab. But Hashimoto powers into a hand hop. I've never seen anyone get out of a Boston Crab like this before. She literally like got herself up. You know how they'll push themselves off the mat? And she started like hopping herself, like pulling Himeka along with her towards the ropes. And when Himeka realizes that she's being moved quite quickly towards the ropes, she transitions to a single leg crab so she can put all of her body weight back on her. It was a smart transition, preventing the hop, but Hashimoto is too close to the ropes and was still able to get her fingers on it. They exchange lariats again in a stalemate, and then forearms in a great exchange. Like they're holding each other up, right? Like they're each grasping the other's arm and then smashing. So the other person like lulls back. It was so cool. It ends with Himeka giving a back suplex to Hashimoto, but Hashimoto responds almost immediately with a German suplex of her own. A loud Himeka chant starts up in the audience. Himeka goes for the jumping knee, but Hashimoto catches her, slams her, puts the ankle lock back on. Himeka escapes, but Hashimoto hits her with a lariat for 2. She then hits a power bomb for 2, puts the ankle lock on again, and Himeka taps out. Her leg has just taken too much damage at this point. Yeah, Chihiro gets a mic after the match. She thanks Himeka and then tells her to retire in April with peace of mind. She then tells Stardom it doesn't understand what strength is about. She's had enough of opponents like Himeka. She wants Syuri. And Syuri responds and comes out. Syuri gets a mic and says, "Oh, it's finally my turn? How about on April 23rd at the Yokohama Arena?" And Hashimoto agrees. Syuri leaves. Hashimoto declares herself the strongest in any ring. I mean, in spite of the fact Himeka had some moments in this match, it was basically Hashimoto wrecking her. Himeka didn't have a whole lot of offense. It was a tough match, though. Good spots, hard hitting, excellent storytelling. I love the storytelling aspect in this. Working over Himeka's ankle, taking down the large woman, you know, the toughness. Himeka trying so hard against someone who is clearly over her head and she knows it. And she acknowledged that in the press conference. She's like, "Hey, I asked for this match." Right. And yeah, it really built Hashimoto for her clash with Syuri, which I am really looking forward to on April 23rd. That is going to be a hell of a hard hitting match. So I'm excited for that. This match I would give 3.5 stars again. It was solid stuff. Then we get the beginning of the title matches. And we have Saya Kamitani versus Suzuki for the Wonder of Stardom Championship, the white belt. Now, I have extensive notes on this. It's long because the match was almost half an hour long. I almost don't want to take away your ability to go watch this match because, oh my God, it was just insane. But I guess I will go through it for those of you who are unable to watch it. So Hazuki comes out in a really nice traditional robe to different theme music. And let's face it, look, I have made no bones about the fact that I have become a major Hazuki fan. Big time. I was cheering for her in this match, and I really, really believed she had a chance to take the Wonder of Stardom Championship from Saya Kamitani. Because Kamitani's already broken the record. I did forget one small fact, though. Anyway, they open up with a really good mat wrestling sequence and then a high speed exchange that ends in Hazuki drop kicking Saya down. She goes for the face washes, but on the final one, Saya drop kicks her. She knows it's coming. They exchange vicious strikes, and Hazuki tosses her out of the ring, nails a massive tope suicide. I mean, her run speed was just like Dante Martin levels of run speed. Back in the ring, Hazuki nails a springboard shotgun dropkick, sending Saya across the ring, and then hits the face wash sequence this time, leaving Saya dead in the ropes. Hazuki then hits a running senton for 2 on her, locks on a crossface until Saya manages to reach the ropes. She repeatedly kicks Saya and then floors her with an elbow shot when Saya tries to get up. But when she lifts Saya up for a running strike, Saya hits the drop kick, sending Hazuki into the corner where she hits a running knee and a drop kick for 2. She goes for the Star Crusher, but Hazuki fights out of it, throws her into the corner. But Saya hops on the ropes, hits a drop kick, sending Hazuki out of the ring, where Saya hits a springboard plancha on her. Saya tosses Suzuki back in the ring, hits an over-the-rope splash for 2. She kicks Suzuki into the ropes, but Suzuki runs back at her, doing the same, starting a back-and-forth big boot sequence, ending in them hitting each other. I mean, they did this over, like boot after boot, ending in them hitting each other at the same time, and both of them go down. Saya then runs at her, but Hazuki hits a DDT. She tries to lift her, but can't. And on the Irish whip that she then throws, Saya reverses, hitting a spinning kick and then a missile drop kick for two. She then hits a trio of leg trap, what looks like Northern Light suplexes. I wasn't quite sure the style of suplex, but it was three of them for the three. She goes for the Star Crusher, or sorry, for the two. She did not pin her with three of those suplexes. Sorry, I think I had the number three stuck in my mind. She goes for the Star Crusher, but Hazuki gets out and hits a Michinoku driver. But then Saya kicks out and hits the Star Crusher, but can't cover her. Both are down. She was too tired to be able to move in and cover her. Saya is up first and goes for the top, but Hazuki gets up screaming and unloads elbows on Saya on the turnbuckle, screaming the whole time. I mean, that's something that I can't convey just recapping like this, is the emotion these two women were showing in this match. It was just insane. She then headbutts her and Saya collapses, allowing Hazuki to hit the superplex. And then she does a running face wash followed by a rope hang DDT and a side facebuster for two. Just an incredible sequence. She locks on the crossface again. It feels like momentum's really shifting in Hazuki's direction now. As Saya gets close to the rope, she transitions into the brutalizer, pulling her back to the center, but Saya's long legs let her reach the rope. Hazuki tosses her into a corner, though, hits a running elbow, and then that leg split code breaker she does, where she puts the person's legs on the second rope, takes them and code breakers them from there, and a diving senton for a near fall. She then hits a diving code breaker, and Saya kicks out. She then hits a dead drop brainbuster and Saya kicks out again. The crowd is absolutely electric, screaming for Hazuki at this point. Like, the crowd was on fire. So was I. This sequence was just insane. I really thought she had her on a couple of these. She then nails Saya with an elbow and runs at Saya, but now she gets countered with a Hurricane Rana, like into an actual pin, a proper Hurricane Rana for a big near fall. Saya then nails Suzuki with a boot, but she's exhausted. They're both down. They exchange forearms from their knees, exhausted, collapsing. They fight back to their feet, suddenly finding some inner energy. Hazuki gets the better of it, beating Saya down mercilessly, like just elbow after elbow after elbow after elbow. She runs through the ropes, but they exchange running strikes again, and Saya hits a pinning back suplex for a two. Saya goes for the Star Crusher again, but Hazuki fights out. Saya Irish whips her, but Hazuki hits her own Hurricane Rana for a near fall. They run at each other. Saya boots her down. She then hits two roundhouse kicks for a two. Now you can feel the momentum shifting now back to Saya. She hits a spinning Star Crusher for a huge near fall. I mean, I thought it was over. I thought that she's done. That was a big Star Crusher. But Hazuki kicks out. She hits another Star Crusher by the ropes, though. Doesn't cover, sets her up. She goes up, nails the Firebird 450 splash, but Hazuki kicks out. I was like, are you kidding me? I thought that was it. But then she hits another Star Crusher, picks her up, hits another Star Crusher, and finally Hazuki stays down for the three. It wasn't the outcome I wanted, but oh my God, what a match. Saya had to absolutely kill Hazuki to keep her down. And just Saya being able to get up out of the stuff Hazuki hit her with. I mean, oh my God, this match is why I watch professional wrestling. This match is the second best match I've seen all year. And if it hadn't been Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, this could easily take match of the year. It is an insanely good wrestling match. Easy 5 stars. Easiest 5 stars I'm going to give like all year except for Ospreay and Omega. Just phenomenal wrestling. After the match, Saya tells Hazuki that she put her life, meaning Hazuki put her life on the line for the title. They fought with passion. Try again, right? So, but then Saya says her next opponent, she wants Mina Shirakawa, and Mina accepts. They will be fighting, I would assume, then at the big Yokohama show. But again, this match itself, both these women gave absolutely everything they had. They both killed it. They're just so crisp. Hazuki is amazing. Every strike, every hit, just so much energy, so much passion from both of them. The selling was top notch. The neither side will stay down story was great. So many good moves, so many good sequences. Everything was on target, well timed. Hazuki is like, she's turned into one of my favorite wrestlers in Stardom, bar none. I absolutely love this woman. She can like wrestle on every show. Just phenomenal. Her energy is insane. I really hope this is setting her up to win the Cinderella tournament and challenge for the white belt again and actually win it this time. This woman deserves a championship. She deserves one now. Anyway, that was the match of the show by far, but that doesn't mean the matches coming up were not really, really good. You know, I did call this my pay-per-view of the year so far, and they might not be as good as this match, but they were all worth watching. So then we get Azumi taking on Starlight Kid for the high speed championship. I mean, the minute you put these eternal foes in the ring, you know it's gotta be good, right? And this is for the high speed championship, and high speed opens it. It's obvious early that Starlight Kid is targeting Azumi's leg and Azumi is targeting Starlight Kid's arm. This is why I made the comment that the Jay Lethal Orange Cassidy match, they must have watched Stardom, because they're doing to each other kind of what Jay Lethal and Orange Cassidy did, but with different types of selling and different moves, of course. Starlight Kid dumps Azumi to the floor, but when she goes for a springboard, Azumi pulls her off the apron, but Starlight Kid catches the running knee and then pulls Azumi down off the apron. She goes for a tornado DDT on the floor, but Azumi reverses it and hits a vertical suplex to Starlight Kid on the floor. Azumi then hits a running tope plancha to the outside. Top rope plancha to the outside. Tope plancha. I'm inventing moves. She brings her in with a second rope Rana and then locks in the double armbar until Starlight Kid reaches the ropes. She heads to the top. Starlight Kid catches her and they fight on the turnbuckle. Azumi goes for a double stomp to a hanging Starlight Kid, but Starlight Kid dodges and Azumi lands on the floor, allowing Starlight Kid to hit a quebrada before tossing her back in the ring, where she hits the 180 moonsault for a 2 and then locks in the Black Tiger. But Azumi reverses it into a cradle for 2 and then goes for the Azumi sushi, but Starlight Kid reverses into a back kick. She sets Azumi up on the turnbuckle and beats her off, but Azumi hits a high kick to Starlight Kid and then a top rope double stomp to a hanging Starlight Kid. She then adds the flying double stomp on Kid's arm. Now that looked painful. I mean, Starlight Kid's lying on the mat. She hits it with a double foot stomp. Ouch. Then another to her, another double stomp to Starlight Kid, like in her stomach, this time for 2. She charges Starlight Kid, hits the float over armbar, but Starlight Kid reverses into a pin for 2, and they start trading moves and near falls until both are down. Starlight Kid runs at Azumi but gets dropped with a high kick. She goes for a springboard knee, but Kid catches her and locks on the Black Tiger again. Azumi barely reaches the ropes as Kid rolls her around. Azumi goes for the armbar, but they end up doing the rolling pins until Azumi gets a near fall. Kid nails a bridging tiger suplex for 2. She then hits a tombstone slam for 2. She puts Azumi on the top rope, goes for an STO, but Azumi reverses midair, or perhaps a Spanish fly, reverses midair into an armbar that Kid fights into a pin. But Azumi reverses it into the Azumi sushi. I thought the match was done here for a massive near fall. Azumi takes her down again, locks on the armbar, then the double armbar. Kid gets close to the rope, so Azumi pulls her back. Kid's able to reverse into a pin for 2. Kid hits a slap, big kick, but Azumi pops up and kicks her down. But Kid kicks out of that pin at a 1. But then Azumi hits her with a Canadian Destroyer, locks on the Azumi sushi, and again, I thought it was done, only gets a 2. Azumi kicks Kid's arm again, takes her to the top rope where she does an arm drop, locks on the double arm bar again. She's just working the arm like crazy. Now Kid keeps fighting and fighting and fighting, but can't get to the ropes and finally taps out to Azumi. They sit on the mat just staring at each other after the match, and Azumi holds up her pinky finger, and after, looking, considering, as Starlight Kid does it. They do the little pinky lock, and then Kid bows to the high speed championship. Great match. Azumi looks unstoppable, which I'm guessing she probably needs to be heading into her match against Mercedes Monet. She dismantled Kid's arm in this match. It was an awesome match. Not as good as the white belt match. Very, very good, though. The dueling submission story was excellent, with the Black Tiger versus the armbar. Just fast. Lots of great moves, lots of great counters, lots of great near falls, what you'd expect out of a high speed match between these two, but like a prolonged high speed contest. So good, 4.5 stars. I mean, this match was just so good, but overshadowed by the white belt match. So yeah, great stuff. And also a different match. This was high speed. This was like quick pins. This was a lot of rolling pins. This was like that kind of stuff, right? And the match before was all passion, technical, hard hit. You know, it's different styles of matches and still so good. And speaking of different styles of matches, we then go to Julia versus Maya Yukihi for the World of Stardom Championship. Now, I thought we were going to get a really hard hitting wrestling match. I underestimated hate. Julia came out with a new theme and with a table. Now, I did not like her new music. I love her old theme. I don't know if she's used this theme before or not. Sometimes they just have like a secondary theme. I've never heard this theme. I don't like it next to her other one is like it starts off with that really regal sound to it, and then like just more of the the guitar comes in. It's more heavy, and I like it. This was more like Italian fashion music or something. I don't know. It's just terrible next to her old music. Don't like it at all. I don't think it embodies her well, unless she's changing her character into some arrogant Italian fashion designer. I'm not so sure this is good music, but whatever. She comes out with a table, which I think starts to set the tone. Unlike the previous two matches, though, I knew there was probably no way Maya was winning this. So the best I was going to hope for was a good match. These women, from their promos, from the press conference, they hate each other. I like how the story around Julia with a lot of these outsiders is the ongoing baggage she carries from the way she left Ice Ribbon to join Stardom. Prominence comes after her. Maya Yukihi's just like, I've avoided you forever because I can't stand you. All right. Love it. And this match is all about the hate. They don't even wait. Julia takes off the belt, and before the match even starts, they're doing their like getting ready to have their picture taken. Julia just smashes Maya in the face with the belt. I'm like, holy crap, right? The bell rings. She pounds on her. And I mean, this was a brawl. This is not a wrestling match. This was a brawl. She pounds on her, back suplex, sends her out of the ring. She pounds her head on a table, Irish whips Maya into a bunch of chairs twice. I mean, they cleared the people out, and when I say Irish whipped, sent her through the chairs, crashing over multiple rows. Okay. Maya then reverses an Irish whip, sending Julie into a support strut, and then she whips her through the chairs. They barely beat the 20 count back into the ring. Back in the ring, Maya hits multiple kicks, puts Julia in an arm lock, but when she pulls her up, they trade forearm shots. I mean, we're talking brawl here, right? These shots, they look hard. They look stiff. It's like they were just beating each other. Julia invites Yuki to hit her at one point, but Maya kicks her instead, dropping her down. They exchange leg trap suplexes, but Maya kicks Julia to the outside again, dragging her up the ramp. Julia reverses Maya's suplex attempt into a falcon arrow on the ramp. Julia sets up the table that she brought. They brawl by the table and around the ring, then roll back in the ring where they grapple and fall out again. Like they're beating on each other so much they're almost ignoring the fact they're having a wrestling match. Maya tries for an armbar, but Julia gets out, delivering a kick to her back. As Maya gets back in the ring, Julia kicks her down for two. I mean, that's what I mean. Like, just kicks her down and covers her. Julia delivers multiple headbutts to Maya. Now, this was almost disgusting because you could hear the skull hit the skull. I don't love that happening in wrestling rings these days with head injuries. Like, you could hear it. It was like thud, thud. And like, it's a sound you can't fake easily, right? This wasn't a slap on the leg or anything. You could hear their heads hit, then slaps her and locks on a rear naked choke, taking her to the mat. After Maya reaches the ropes, Julia hits her with a backdrop driver for two. Maya catches her follow-up kick, though, and slaps the living hell out of her. I mean, Dana White's company holds nothing on this woman. And roundhouse kicks her down. She then delivers a hard-running knee in the corner, another kick for two. I mean, every shot in this match is stiff as hell. Maya goes up the ropes, but Julia catches her and hits an avalanche dragon suplex. She goes up the ropes, but now Maya catches her. They brawl in the turnbuckle and end up crashing off the turnbuckle to the floor together. Julia mounts her on the ground and pounds her with repeated forearms and slaps. She puts Maya on the table, and the ref tries to stop stop her. So she shoves the ref, knocking him out. She then delivers a pile driver to Maya through the table. I mean, it was just insane. But as Julia makes her way back to the ring, Maya grabs part of the table off the floor and smashes Julia in the back with it. Julia then responds with a suplex on the floor. She clears the timekeeper table, but Maya hits a roundhouse kick and then gives Julia a tiger driver through the table. That looked freaking insane. Julia's back is a mess. There's a gash on it. She's bleeding. You can see the gash, right? Maya kicks her some more, charges at her, but Julia catches her and delivers a glorious driver on the floor to Maya. It was just like, holy crap. She tries to get back in the ring, but Maya grabs her foot and won't let her back in the ring. She can't get up herself. She's out of it, and she's just struggling to pull Julia back. And they get the 20 count, ending the match in a double count out. They keep brawling. It was just nuts. I mean, it's probably the only time in history that I've seen a double count out in a title match and gone, whoa, that actually makes sense with these two. Right. I mean, there's an argument that, well, why would Maya stop her from getting back in the ring and breaking that? Well, they're brawling. And like Maya even said in the post match press conference, she's like, I was just fighting. She wasn't thinking. She was trying to pull Julia back. So yeah, it was a very interesting ending because we've been conditioned, I think, and I've heard others say this as well. We've been conditioned in the West, shall we say, North America especially, to think of a double countout as the WWE shitty double countout that makes you want to throw up in your boots, right? That's not what this was. This was a properly placed double count out because neither one of these women was going to give up till the other one was dead. So anyway, and I mean, I had to kind of get past the fact because I was expecting a wrestling match and it took me a minute to get past it. I'm like, what the hell am I watching right now? Like, I had expected them to wrestle. They weren't wrestling. They were killing each other, right? This was like Mox and Hangman kind of level of like trying to kill each other, right? Just not in a Texas death match. And once I realized that's what I was watching, I then kind of shifted gears and went, okay, that's the story of this match. This is about hate. This is about just viciousness. This is about old grudges. And I loved it. Um, you know, after the match, Julia gets a mic, and the fans are chanting for more time on the match, right? Like when they finally stop, they stop brawling. Julia gets a mic. The fans are like, more time, more time. And then she says, what? No, that's stupid, right? And she tells Maya to watch her back on the way home. Maya laughs and says, hey, you asked for this match, not me. Maybe we'll meet again someday. Arrivederci. Uh, 4.5 stars. I mean, the match was slow in places, but the emotion was so good and it was brutal. These women sold hating each other. And I mean, I don't know if they're selling or not because, oh my God, it was just a brawl, not a wrestling match. They just pounded the crap out of each other. Once I moved past the aspect I wasn't getting a wrestling match, I was like, oh no, this is really good for exactly what they're trying to do with this match. I had to overcome my sort of expectations briefly. Don't go into this thinking you're going to watch a classic Julia wrestling match. That is not what this is. This is a grudge match. This is two people who hate each other. And you know, just so good. So good. But as Julia leaves, Tam is on the top of the ramp waiting for her. And Tam goes to the ring and gets a mic. And Tam says, Julia, you look so sad. Didn't you say you need Tam Nakano? Well, I need you too. Only Tam can be Julia's opponent in Yokohama. I want to fight you for the red belt. And Julia says, Tam Nakano again? Are you done babysitting Tsukiyama yet? She goes, well, I'm not done. I want Tsukiyama to win, but I want that red belt. I'll put up anything, my hair, my property, my name, anything. I don't care if the stipulation is I have to become your slave. I mean, the passion she was showing in this was just nuts, right? Like this desperation to get that belt. And Julia says, isn't it enough just to fight for the belt? But let me tell you, I'm going to put you through hell again. Arrivederci. And Tam says, I'll crush you into space dust again. And that was it. That was the match. That was the post match. So we've got in Yokohama now another Tam Nakano Julia match. But oh my God, for the red belt, I am looking forward to this. It's going to be nuts. So that brings us to the main event We've got Rampage, God's Eye, Syuri, Mariah, and Ami Sorai taking on Prominence, Risa, Sera, Suzu, Suzuki, and Kurumi Hiragi for the Artist of Stardom Championship and winners of the Triangle Derby. Now, I'm going to tell you, I'm looking at this, I'm going, well, I'm going to see God's Eye crowned the champions after this match. Ami starts off against Risa. After Ami hits a shoulder block, Risa immediately gets a chair. I mean, don't forget, Prominence are deathmatch specialists. She goes to hit Ami with the ref distracted, and then with the ref finally getting distracted, nails Ami with the chair. Syuri interferes on the next shot, though, putting the chair around Risa's neck and choking her. Prominence takes it to God's Eye outside the ring. Risa nails Syuri with the chair. Then Ami, finally back in the ring, Risa chokes Ami on the ropes until Ami hits a hold-on backdrop for two. Then tags in Syuri, who sends Risa flying with a suplex. They exchange forearms and kicks until Risa hits a Liger bomb, but Syuri reverses it into a pin of her own for two. They go back and forth until Risa hits an air raid crash, and both of them go down. Ami and Hiragi are tagged in, and after some back and forth, Ami shoulder blocks Hiragi now, which is impressive, right? I mean, Ami's strong, Hiragi's strong and large, and she was able to shoulder block her down, and then chops her repeatedly. Mariah and Suzu get tagged in and brawl until Suzu hits a drop kick. But she misses the corner run in, and Mirai delivers multiple running shots to her in the corner. I mean, I love when Mirai gets on a roll like this. There's another person that's getting pushed to the moon right now, right? Just to use the Krishna phrase. Another person pushed to the moon right now, just so strong, so fast, so good, right? I mean, another one that's grown on me. I watched Mirai the first time and I was kind of like, oh, yeah, she's good. Now I'm like, man, she's great. Like once I've learned kind of what their styles are, they're so good at what they do. But she's in the ring with Suzu Suzuki, who's not just great, she's phenomenal. So Prominence interferes. Soon Mariah is being attacked in the corner by all three members. Suzu hits a half and half slam for two, goes for a running attack, but Ami stops her and Syuri DDTs her, allowing Mariah to hit a slam of her own, and then a rotating facebuster followed by a huge lariat for two. She then puts the Kimura on Suzu, but Prominence breaks it up. There's another huge lariat, but when Mirai picks her up, Suzu hits a headbutt, then a closed fist punch to the face. Like that's like in Japanese wrestling, that is like a really low move to be closed fist punching someone in the face. Hiragi hits a package tombstone while Risa drops double knees on Mirai from the second rope with Suzu on her back. So that move again, right? But she only gets a two. Suzu hits a German suplex, but Mirai pops up screaming and nails another huge lariat. Suzu pops up from that, though, and nails the poison Rana, followed by the tequila shot for a near fall. She hits a German suplex, then rolls through and hits a second German suplex for the three, and Prominence retains the titles, and Bill is once again completely wrong. So yeah, I thought Hazuki was going to win the white belt, and I thought that God's Eye was going to win the Artist of Stardom Championship, and I was wrong on both of them. So the only ones I was right on were Izumi and Julia. I didn't think either one of them was going to be dropping their titles, but yeah. Anyway, yeah, Prominence wins. A hard fought match. Mirai looked really strong. Prominence looked amazing, especially Suzu Suzuki. I mean, she's just on another level. My descriptions cannot tell you how this woman looks in a ring, right? Just precise. Everything hits. She's the complete package too, because she is like the voice of Prominence as well. Risa Sera might be the Prominence leader, but Suzu is their voice. And she gets the mic after the match. She says, Prominence wins. We defended the belts. Why are you crying? Don't you see, Stardom? This is Prominence. We came here a year ago. We're the apex of units. She then makes fun of the championship flag. So they got this big flag for winning the Triangle Derby. She's like, I had a poll a minute ago. Where's the poll on this flag, right? She's like, what is this, the winner's blanket? And then she gets the crowd to chant Prominence to close the show. Hard fought match, like I said. It just, man, another solid. This one was 4.25 for me. A really good match. Maybe not as good as the title matches that preceded it, but again, really good match. Yeah, Syuri's amazing. Suzu, I mean, all six of the women in this match are just incredible. I mean, Ami Sorai has come such a long way. I mean, from just amazing. Anyway, so that closed out this show. Now, this show, Omega level, 100% Omega level. You can't put on a show like this and not have it Omega level. That white belt match, Omega level, right? I mean, the Azumi Starlight Kid match, I'd probably put that on the Omega level too, or very, very close to it. Um, it's just match after match. Even the pre-show matches were still 3 stars plus, right? These are pre-show matches. When you have Utami Hayashishita on the pre-show of this event, and it still performs to this level, one, you have an absolutely stacked roster, and two, you have amazing wrestlers who give their all in every single match, no matter where they are on the card. And that's what I love about Stardom. There's no half-assing. Everyone has a role. Everyone has a place. Everyone has a story. It is so good. So good. So good. If you haven't checked out Stardom, if you haven't checked out any of their stuff, please do. You'll be doing yourself a service. I just thought I should start covering them when we decided to start doing sort of the broader outside of AEW stuff, and I have totally fallen in love with this promotion. It is incredible wrestling. Day in, event out. So good. You almost never see a bad match, right? And you almost never see a match that makes no sense, which I also really appreciate. So yes, this I would give this event 5 stars. Check it out. Watch it. You will not be disappointed whatsoever. It would be a great introduction for you into Stardom. And remember, they don't do promos that much. They cut little bits in the ring. But the real key I have found to watching Stardom is to actually check out the press conferences around it, because that's where you get some of the story done as well, is in these little press conferences that they do before and after some events. And that's why I love that one site, Shine Today, Believe Tomorrow, because they translate those press conferences. Until I can actually figure out what they're saying by myself, I will be using them. So great spot. Check it out if you want to get sort of the background information. And hey, check if you like what you're hearing here, check out our other podcasts. I mean, we're available on every podcast provider. We're available on YouTube. We appreciate anyone who chooses to listen to our stuff. If you want to give us that 5-star review, the like, the subscribe, anything at all helps us out and keeps us bringing stuff for you guys and gals and everyone else to listen to. So that was Stardom Triangle Derby Finals. And we will be back coming up on Monday again with more wrestling with One Winged Wrestling Weekly, where we'll be talking about Stardom and Showcase and a variety of other things from the week. So I'll see you then. But as the great one always says, goodbye, everybody. Mwah, and good night. Bang.